Why didn't you say the Peter Piper one?
Peter Piper picked a pepper.
And his penis?
No, it's 12 dwarves took turns doing handstands on a carpet.
Then I say it clear.
12 dwarves took turns doing handstands on a carpet.
Now do the Peter one.
Peter picked a pepper. Peter Piper picked a pepper.
And scene.
This is Jason.
This is Kailani.
And you're here for the Worm for the Night podcast, a podcast where I used to make my girlfriend watch things she didn't want to watch, but now it's basically me being forced to watch things I don't want to watch. Because you put the guilt trip on me for so long that I've just succumbed to watching Dateline and murder mysteries and thinking that every male out there is probably, if not thought about kidnapping a female, has probably done it. Why have you made me suspicious of every male we come across? That's not me.
Not intentionally.
What do you get out of watching these things? Because the one we watched the other day on Peacock called The Toolbox Murderer, which was about an 80-year-old man in San Quentin who had a odd relationship with a young journalist, and she got him to confess to all these murders and rapes that he performed with another guy in Southern California in the 70s, and he was particularly sadistic, probably the most sadistic serial killer ever, putting ice picks through females' ears and taking pictures and recordings. And we watched, 2 to 4 episodes of that, and I was thoroughly bummed out for the rest of the day. And it didn't seem to faze you at all.
No, not at all. And I was comfortable.
You were comfortable watching that? I was so uncomfortable watching it.
I guess that's the wrong word. What do I say? I don't know. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, you were dozing in and out like it was just like we had a Disney movie on.
Yeah, I can probably binge watch. I mean, I know I can binge watch all those type of things. But let's be clear. You chose that, not me. I didn't even know that existed. You found it.
Because you said, do we have a new Dateline? And it's like, no, we've watched every single Dateline out there.
We haven't even watched Dateline. I have, but you haven't recently. We watch other things like what? Like documentaries. Oh, I know. Dark Side of the Ring. Now what? We're watching things about horror.
Did you just say, hold on, we will get back to that. Did you just say the name of a show correctly on the first try?
I did.
If I had a bell to ring, I would right now. That's like, the bar needs to stop and acknowledge that. Everybody, I know, they need the ones on the house here. So, what's the name of it again? Can you do it twice? Now the pressure's on.
Dark Side of the Ring.
On
about the WWE.
It's on Hulu, Vice, but yeah, exactly. It's about
on
what?
Vice.
It's on.
Right?
It's a Vice show that we watch through Hulu. But what is it about? Tell the listeners if they're not familiar.
These unfortunate things that happen to all these people who fight. Like they all have curses.
Well, not
but
fight.
Let's be real.
But they're in the
all
WWF.
High on like steroid and coke. I mean, it seems to be the thing.
It's really centers around wrestlers from the 70s and 80s, specifically WWF guys that are well known, and the tragedy that surrounded them. We've been going through a whole bunch of them, but I mean, some of these are bizarre. Some of them are tragic. I mean, the Ultimate Warrior one was just plain sad, to be honest with you.
What's the very first one that we watched that was even sadder when he killed his son?
Story.
Yeah,
you weren't familiar with that, and that's a shocking story. If you weren't paying attention to the tabloids during that time, you probably wouldn't have heard it. And that's an especially gruesome murder-suicide of a father and his children, and probably CTE, but we didn't know enough about it back then. But we watched that one, and then we watched Macho Man Savage and Miss Elizabeth. We watched Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah, we don't have to keep naming. Nobody knows them. But
anybody listening to this podcast, 99% of the audience of this podcast knew all of the names that just came out of my mouth.
I'm just saying, I don't choose to watch those. You do.
You're pulled into them immediately. And then you fall asleep and wake up and go, what happened? And I go, he was shot 11 times in the face. That's basically what's happening. I'm mortified at what happens to some of the Dino Bravo and things like that. It's unbelievable.
I just want to make it clear that it's a joint effort here. I mean, once we get in, babe. We watch those deep, dark things.
We watched a documentary last night on Martin Scarelli, the Pharma Bro, and it was okay. But
I liked it a little bit more than you did. I didn't like the person who or the narrator or the guy
the framing device of the guy doing the documentary who inserted himself in the documentary, moved into Scarelli's building to get close to him. It felt like a troll job or a weird
Well, that's
thing.
what the point was, is about trolling, but it did feel a little bit more obsessive than that. Like, what was the reasoning behind it?
It felt to me like the guy thought he was going to move into the building and meet Scarelli and get him on camera, and that never materialized. So what he did was just basically stole his live streams and just cut a documentary around that. But the guy, Scarelli, is such a prick anyways and has such a strange story. And there was a lot more. I didn't know he had girlfriends and had this live stream that he was doing that people could just call into. It's bizarre that this guy's a multi-billionaire, one of the most hated people in the country, and you could just call into his little shitbox apartment where he was on a live stream. He was on Tinder. The whole thing was a little nutty in a sense. I thought that, but the framing device was not very good.
No.
Yeah, it was not very good.
Yeah.
So it's that time.
Oh, okay. But one more thing we have to talk about.
Please.
We have to mention about our all-time favorite, JCS.
JCS. I'm glad you brought it.
If you're listening, you're amazing. Don't quit.
We don't know
going.
who JCS is. And if you're not in on who JCS is, JCS Criminal Psychology channel on YouTube is a fantastic. You must be in on it because it's got millions of views and millions of subscribers. But he's in some sort of beef with YouTube.
He is so intelligent, and it's wonderful to watch. Like just
interrogation
the
videos broken down by somebody. We don't know who this is. It's kind of a anonymous thing, but we actually joined his Patreon. I mean, I'm so fucking old. I never thought I would join a Patreon.
But
people my age don't join Patreon.
And you're contributing to him. So let's just, everybody go hit the like button.
No, like and subscribe this.
Yes.
No, don't tell them to go somewhere else. Okay. You're an asshole. This is like the host at a restaurant saying go somewhere else.
Our page. Oh, and our Instagram is back up and running, guys. Go to JCS and hit the like and subscribe. Let's get him to post more videos because he's promised us that, but it has yet to come about.
I'm thinking sincerely of editing this all out right now because you just said go to our Instagram and then you said go to JCS. That dude has 4.5 million subscribers. We got 70. We need more subscribers. Go smash that Instagram like button or go to the YouTube channel and like that, and then go to JCS and see if you like it.
Yes, you are correct.
He does not need the help. We need the help, people. If you like what you're hearing, like and subscribe on Instagram. Kailani's running it nowadays. And it's fantastic. So I've been saying all along to anybody that would listen that I couldn't find anybody, not one person, who liked the new Matrix movie. And alas, I not only knew somebody, they were sleeping in my bed the whole time.
I didn't say I like. Well, okay.
No. Hold on, let me preface this. You listened to Movie Mavericks episode 375 with Trevor and I discussing our dislike of the film.
Yes.
You wanted a rebuttal episode. You wanted to make this entire episode a rebuttal just to that episode.
No,
it was a running commentary on how wrong I was on my own podcast.
Yes.
So now we're on a second podcast where you can tell me how wrong I am on the last podcast.
About Matrix and about Don't Look Up.
Well, let's dissect it one by one. Okay. Why do you think The Matrix is worth a recommendation to family and friends? That's what you really have to say. And that's what you're doing. You're recommending this to people out there that you care about. Go ahead. Why?
I just found it entertaining.
By falling asleep a couple times in and out?
At the end, I mean, we got the point. It was a little long.
Okay. Let me bring this point out.
I didn't find it as disappointing as you did. Let's put it that way.
You didn't even know Jada Smith was in it.
No.
Because you slept through the second act.
Okay, so I said towards the end.
No, babe. You fell asleep 30 minutes in, woke up about 20 minutes to the end and went, that wasn't that bad. And I was like, because you just missed the last 70 minutes of
anybody
sludge.
Could agree. That's a total of 50 minutes that I watched of that movie. It's good enough.
You watched the best part, the first 30 and the last 20.
Perfect.
Even those parts weren't great. And
I saw the middles too.
You didn't know, once again, that Jada Pinkett Smith was in the movie. She's a fairly large portion of that movie.
I doubt it. She's probably in it for 5 minutes. Let's get over it.
Okay. So anybody that saw The Matrix, and I presume you have if you're listening to the podcast about movies, knows that Kailani is recommending the movie runs about 150 minutes. You're recommending a third of it.
No, a half.
Well, 50 minutes of 150.
No, I saw a little bit more than that. I can tell you what happened in the middle.
What?
When he showed up to the coffee shop.
That was the very beginning.
No, that's not the very beginning. Bet you anything.
All right. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you saw half of it. So you're recommending half the movie.
Yeah, I am.
The whole thing is a painful experience to watch. Now let's get to talking about Don't Look Up Now or Don't Look Now or whatever the fuck we're calling it. Adam McKay's highly disappointing Netflix film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. We watched this on Christmas Day, and this is another one that bummed me out. I was really expecting good things. You heard me talk about it on the other podcast, acted like I was cheating on you. You wanted to speak with me immediately. I need to speak with you immediately about what you said. So here's your chance, honey.
Okay.
Let them know.
Well, I am going to piggyback off what you just said. You said it bummed you out, it bummed you out. So it bummed me out too, but it bummed me out in like a different way, like a relatable way. Because I feel like with what the world's going on with right now, I feel like that movie was very relatable. In
a lot of ways, but I think also from a filmmaker and what they were trying to say, they didn't need to... I mean, I'm reiterating what things I said already, but they didn't need to hammer the point home over and over and over. I just thought it was obvious, and they got stuck on a certain thing, and it was not... Less would have been more, is all I could say for that film. I think if it was condensed a little bit more, even cut down 45 minutes... we didn't need DiCaprio's character getting seduced by the fame. I thought that was totally irrelevant to the story, and I thought it wasn't even in his character if he is a scientist and he is truly that concerned about the Earth and they're that anxiety-ridden. That didn't make any sense to me. So I didn't enjoy the entire second act of that film until he comes back around.
I mean, I agree. I think it's a bit too long.
I just gave you a dissertation.
I know. And I applaud you for it, but moving on.
You still disagree, though. I wasn't able to sway you.
I see what you're saying, but...
So I got to ask you this. How come you say that you love certain actors, and yet when I bring up films to watch of theirs, you shoot me down?
It depends on who you're referring to. But
Adam Sandler?
Because I've seen them multiple times.
That's My Boy?
Yeah.
Hubby Halloween?
Ugh.
Tom Hanks?
I love Tom Hanks, but...
You don't ever want to watch Big?
I do. I've watched Big multiple times.
Not ever since I've known you, and I've brought it up multiple times to watch it.
No, we have.
We watched Splash. We never watched Big.
Well, I mean, I've seen that multiple times, too. I can tell you from head to toe that movie.
So what actor did you think I was going to bring up?
I have no idea. Because
the only two that I know that you'll watch no matter what is Paul Rudd. You'll watch Paul Rudd in anything. Even in some dog shit indie film that is like, well, I've never even heard of this thing. I follow movies. I mean,
you still never watched that movie.
I've seen a lot of shit Paul Rudd movies.
I know, but
you
don't like indie movies at all.
That's not
and that's
right.
Kind of like, it kind of goes, oh, listen, guys, it kind of goes with Don't Look Up. Because Don't Look Up is very indie to me.
Oh, it's very indie?
Yeah.
Really? They have the two of the biggest movie stars in the world, gave them $20 million each to be in that movie. It's the farthest thing from indie. It tried to be artsy, but it was not indie. Indie
is artsy.
That's not true. That's typically, it goes hand in hand, but it's not. Independent just means outside of the studio system. But usually people that are working outside the studio system can't tell a coherent story, so they hide behind the fact that it's artsy, and you just didn't get it because, you didn't think about it hard enough. You just argued
the same point I did. It is artsy, and it's independent.
Get out of here. You decide on that thing. I'm not gonna push that. All right, so the other night we played the name the movie game, but we haven't been watching that many movies, to be honest with you. We outside the ones we just mentioned, and the names of things.
I feel like that's a lot of movies.
Well, okay, what was the last movie that we sat down and watched?
We just watched Scream last night, but is it called Scream or is it called Shooter? Not Shooter, Stabber? Stabbing?
Come on.
Scream sequel.
It's not called Scream sequel.
What is it called?
It's called Scream. It should be Scream 5, but you're right. We saw Scream, the new one, last night.
Yeah, and then...
And then?
We went to the movie theater for another one, and it was just recent. And it was horrible because we were sitting next to a bunch of people who were Horrible.
House of Gucci.
Yeah. Okay. So we saw that one.
We talked about that in the last podcast.
Oh, did we have another party?
That was in November. We saw House of Gucci.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's been hard.
Okay. And then we saw that one. The Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we saw Don't Look Up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw, what was the one in Martinez?
House of Gucci.
Oh, okay. We saw another one that we watched. The Dune? No.
Okay, it's October.
Oh. I don't remember.
I do.
What is it?
It's another one I talked about on the podcast, and you wanted to tell me how wrong I was.
What was it?
Well, if you can't remember, I'm not going to tell you.
Tell
I'm
me.
going to tell you who's in it, and you're going to tell me what the name of it is.
Okay. You're so evil sometimes.
It stars Ryan Reynolds.
No, we know. That was in Hawaii. We already talked about that.
No.
Red Notice.
That's the different one. But good call on the name on that.
Oh, yes. Free Guy. That's what it is.
Are you been taking neurotrend fucking mission medication? What's going on? You got alpha brain here?
You love that movie. I thought it was horrible.
What are you talking about? I loved it. I gave it a moderate recommendation. Everybody loved that movie.
Just so loved it, and I was just like, It was not a good movie.
Well, I could tell you felt by falling asleep 36 minutes into it.
I did not. I saw the whole movie. You fell asleep.
Oh.
You fell asleep.
Oh, no.
And then I got stuck watching it over and over and over again. It was horrible. It's like,
what
please.
madness
stop.
are you talking about? This is exactly what happened. Folks, let me tell you what exactly happened. She fell asleep at the 36-minute mark. She woke up at the end.
That's what you said about Matrix. No, that's getting old.
I know. It was the same day. We watched these back to back.
Happened.
You then woke up, and then you fell back asleep, and then you woke up later when I was listening to the soundtrack, and you went, what is that? I said, oh, it's from this short film called Paperman. And you went, I've seen that. I know that.
I have seen that.
And then you got up, and that was that. But yeah, you know. So I don't know who... I've only seen Free Guy once. Did you watch it on repeat without me?
No. I saw it all. I never fell asleep. You just automatically assume I'm asleep.
What happened to the Channing Tatum character in Free Guy?
He became normalized.
No, that was Ryan Reynolds. What happened to the Channing Tatum character?
That was the brother.
What are you talking about? This is what happens when you fall asleep 36 minutes into a movie. Okay, I proved my point on that. The other night, you said something to me that was just too good to pass up. Do you recognize what I'm going to say?
No, because I give you gems every night.
You do. And there are some nights that I just have to jot them down, even though I don't think I would have ever forgotten this one.
Oh, I know what it is. And you know what? I have a picture to prove it. Let's do this. But yes, we're going to head to the Instagram. You're going to take a poll. Go ahead. Tell them what it is, honey.
Okay, fair enough. Before I get into this, if you're listening to this, we on the Instagram page, Movie Mavericks Podcast Instagram page, Kailani's going to post a picture of what she's talking about, and you can vote yes or no if it does or doesn't. Okay? We have a Google Chromecast. It had a picture of a plane, an airline, passenger plane, presumably, flying over a beach, a beautiful white sand beach with tranquil waters there, real translucent. And it cast a shadow onto the water. And you looked at me and said, do you think sharks see that and think that's their cousin? So what are we going to ask on the Instagram? If people think that sharks...
Does an airplane shadow look like a shark?
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's hilarious as it is. But you said, do you think sharks see that shadow and think it's their cousin?
Yeah, because they look alike. That was the whole point.
The shadow?
Yeah. They look like a shark. It looks like a shark.
I don't think...
Wait, like it fans out. It's big and long.
So you think the sharks are looking up out of the water, or do you think they see a shadow in the water?
I
don't know. I'm going to have to study
that
this.
yet.
I'm going to let you know. I don't think the shadow's
but
in the water.
But I will post this picture.
Yes. So go to the Instagram page immediately and vote if it does. and you're siding with Kailani, or if it doesn't and you're siding with the rest of the sane people here. Okay, not just me, but the rest of us that shouldn't be in Bellevue. Okay, so
I'm going to win this. You know that, right?
This was equally as scary because that same night you told me that you had a friend who works in the protein bar industry. And you said it's a really famous one. And you said it starts with the letter O. Do you recall what? Do you recall telling me this? First of all?
Yes, I do.
And do you recall what bar this was?
Yes.
What is the name of the bar?
Quest.
Not really starting with the letter O. You led me down a path where I named every protein bar that could possibly even any protein bar. And then you went, oh, Quest.
Yeah, but it gives you entertainment, honey. It never gets boring.
Neither does a movie that I want to talk about.
Okay, which one's that?
This is a movie that you fucking claim that you've seen, and I'm not buying it. I mentioned a movie the other night, and it sets you off into a dizzy frenzy that I haven't seen.
You always tell me that you don't think I've watched anything. I can tell you, I've seen that. I've never seen it. And then you go into the details.
Because if I put something on and don't tell you what it is, you'll be like, oh, what is this? I've never seen it. And you'll have told me you've seen it 3 or 4 other times. So the movie in question is, I said, have you ever seen The Big Lebowski? You said, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah,
right off the bat. I said, I just am asking, have you ever seen it? Because I did want to watch it. And you said, I've seen it. You don't believe me, which made me not believe you immediately. And then you said, you can ask my high school boyfriend and my dad. I'm not contacting either of these people to verify if you've seen The Big Lebowski, but I have a feeling it may have been on in the background at best.
Or you can ask my best friend, who that is.
She can verify you've seen The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
Or haven't?
Yes.
You're going to tell me you saw it in a movie theater with this person?
No.
Well, then how would she know?
Because
you guys just hang around.
Same class, like film class, when we were kids.
And they made
teenagers.
you watch The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
So what's it about?
No, I feel like it's about baseball, man. I don't know.
Baseball?
It's like it's very much, isn't it? It looks like that one. Is it War on Drugs? What's the one about the Wall Street crash? What's that one called?
The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. It looks the same.
What the fuck does that
it's the
mean?
Same kind of movie, and I'm not.
What do you mean?
I'm
it's the same kind of movie.
Slow. It's slow.
You're digging yourself into a hole on air.
Slow, and it's supposed to be a different type of artsy.
Not your kind of artsy.
No.
Didn't sound like it.
You know I'm right.
Apparently so. Well, guys, we're just going to go ahead and let that one go because, as you can see, she's a big fan of The Big Lebowski and the dude abides. The dude abides. All right. Do we have anything else we want to talk about on this show?
I just want to say that I'm really upset that Betty White died.
I know. You were really taken aback by this.
Yeah.
I think I'm more upset, to be honest, that Bob Saget died.
Oh, I'm pretty upset that he died, too.
Yeah, just because that was so shot. I mean, him and Norm Macdonald within 6 months of each other, and they worked together, obviously, on Dirty Work, which I think is kind of an underrated movie.
What's kind of beautiful is he died doing something that he absolutely loved because he just finished a show. But what's kind of sad is he died alone in a hotel room.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. On both those things. So I guess this one we're dedicating to Betty and Bob. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I'm Jason.
I'm Kailani.
We'll talk to you soon.